All right, team, this is a quick masterclass on how I create thumbnails for Javier's YouTube channel. And as I am evolving the thumbnails and as I'm learning more on what the best are doing in the industry, I'm applying it to new thumbnails as we move forward. Now, could we go back and update thumbnails over time? Absolutely. And actually, that may be a project that I would love to give to one of you, is to come in here, get access to our file of all of our thumbnails that I've created. This is our entire file of thumbnails for every video that we've put out there and even some other extra assets. But what I've noticed is I've seen a few people kind of trick the algorithm and making it this red gray bar at the bottom, which kind of tells the viewer they kind of started watching the video. So it's kind of a hack in a way to try to say, oh, I started watching this. Why didn't I finish watching this video? And so we hope that as people are searching and they find our video, they'll realize that, wait, I don't remember watching this video, but there's a red bar at the bottom. So we'll keep an eye on the analytics on that. But for this new thumbnail that I created, I'm just going to do a quick masterclass on how I created it, what inspires me to create thumbnails like this, and from start to finish. So hang on to your seats, buckle in, grab some popcorn and soda pop. It's going to be a little bit longer video, but this one's going to be for you guys, the team. So as you're creating thumbnails for projects, you can see how I create these thumbnails and make them stand out, right? And so obviously we have different thumbnails in here that were used. I know this one here was from one of our other creators, Will, right? A good first start of the thumbnail, but then I came in and made some additional adjustments to it, because what stands out on YouTube is a lot different. And you'll see a theme here. You'll see a trend. One, we want face to be super zoomed in. If we're going to be using Javier's face, we want to create a glow around something. And then we want to use big letters, so people can read what the title or what the video is going to be about. And so the name of the thumbnail here may not match the actual video. For example, find and fund your next deal with in-person meetups is not the name of the title for the YouTube. The actual title for this is going to be how to get your next real estate deal done with in-person meetups. That's going to be the title. So it's different than what's on the actual thumbnail itself. Now, there are good thumbnails, there are bad thumbnails, and there are great thumbnails. And what I want you to understand when you're creating your thumbnails is we really just want good and or great thumbnails. If we can stay away from bad thumbnails, then we're going to be okay as a team. And if you're looking for immediate inspiration, I would highly recommend you go look up Pace Morby or any of the other creators that are doing, 200, 300, 2 million subs plus, and take a look at the thumbnails he's creating. As you can see here, a lot of the thumbnails that he has, the colors are all over the place. He's not staying to one color code. So we don't need to be stuck into a specific brand color the entire time. You can tell he's got big letters highlighted. His face is shoulders and above in most of these, right? So if you're looking shoulders and above, and it's his face. Some of his face, that's why we're doing headshots as much as we can. And we want Javier to make a regular face, and then we want him to make a bunch of weird faces, because sometimes we need to do a weird face in a video or for a thumbnail, right? The hand holding out right here, double hands holding out, big smiles, big laughter. What is this going on here? So this is a good place to start. This is the guy that's leading the way. So let's not overthink this, and let's use thumbnails that people are already using, and they're already spending thousands of dollars on the best data to creating the best thumbnails. And so this is where I gather my inspiration. So when you jump into this file here, you'll see a lot of Javier's inspiration. A lot of the thumbnails are inspired by Pace Morby himself. Now, you may be asking me, well, Matthew, we have a face in all of these. Why not a face in this one? Well, this one's going to be our in-person meetup, and I really would like to get our group photos using it here in the background. So I didn't have access to the group photo just yet. So I went ahead and just take imperfect action and created something that really stands out, which is grabbing an image of a home using Canva, making it a background doing a gray color scale, keeping the original, making a copy, keeping the original, doing a background remove, and then doing a glow behind it so it pops, right? So the house is in color, the background is dark in contrast to the house so it pops out. And I really wanted to play on words, right? Find and fund your next deal with in-person meetups. Now, as I'm thinking about this, if I spend a little bit more time considering the thumbnail, I may even consider it an aerial view of a neighborhood and doing this where I highlight maybe 4 or 5 homes on a street and have the rest grayed out. And I might actually do that. I don't know. But Canva made this simple and easy to use. I think it maybe took total 10 minutes to create this. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through how I created it, right? So first and foremost, let's just add a page. And so actually, let me show you how I really did it. So how I really did this is I took a previous thumbnail and I just made a copy. So if you scroll down, you'll see there are some assets on this thumbnail here. Yeah, this thumbnail here. I was like, you know what? I really like the Sub 2 Gator TC Orlando title that I made a couple thumbnails ago. I'm going to use this thumbnail here. So what I did was I made a copy and I moved it all the way to the top, right? So I just hit this arrow, it moves the thumbnail because I want to try to keep the most recent ones at the top as much as possible. So as you're working on thumbnails in this Canva app, which you all should be able to get access to, this is a open file for Canva, so please create your account. It's free to make, and you should have all access to all the paid assets under my template here. But the Canva app itself is an online editor. So there's going to be all these areas over here we're going to walk through in a bit, right? So I grabbed this original from it. So you can see here, this is, the find and fund your next deal. I added that by doing this, selecting the top one, or I'm sorry, I selected the thick lettered one. I like this thick Orlando. I just hit Control Copy and then Control Paste, but you can right click, copy, Control C, and then Control V. So I do Control C, Control V. Boom, and I brought that up. And so I would type out find and fund. That's going to be my main title. So I put it across the screen so it fits within this box. I move these arrows out. Okay, and then from here, I was like, I don't want it to be this color. I'm going to change the background. I want it to be kind of neon. So I selected it and I hit, where am I at? Let's see, it should have an edit button. Where's my edit button? Oh, it's over here. Okay, yeah. So I hit my side area there and I hit neon. I roll over and I go to neon. So once I hit neon, I can get into here. And so I have the intensity of the neon. I can change how much I want it to be neon. Now, if I want to change the color, then I have to hit this color here, which I did. And I think I hit this green color. Yeah. So I had this green color and it actually stands out more. So I almost want to change this one to that color and see. Yeah, that one stands out more. So I may even update that. But a lot of it's because we have a darker background here. So as you can tell, there's a lot of learning curve here on Canva that you'll have to learn to get comfortable with this. But I was able to do my find and fund. And then I copied and pasted this because I like that style. But my underlying title is your next deal with in-person meetups. So I just type in your next deal with in-person meetups. Once I've typed that up, I'm going to grab a corner here. I'm going to shrink it. And then I'm going to expand it all the way across so it matches. And ideally, I want it to fit square to square, but now I want this to fit like a box. So I hit this plus sign until the text fits like that right underneath. You see how it fits aligned right here and here? And then what I did was I changed the color. I went from that to white. So that's how I created my text, turned one neon, like the font type, and then copied this, created a new one, and changed the color. So I didn't have to do all the other editing again. I have the text that I like. Now, once I have that, I can shift and hold both and hit group. So now I can move them both around whenever I need to in the future. If I want to make them bigger, larger, they all stay the same and they all work the same. So that's what I did there. Now, what I did here was I wasn't too fond of this being super high. So I got to group this. So I shrunk this. And I wanted this to be kind of more of like a logo to a degree, and I moved the logo to the top. So if I grab both of these and bring this down like I have it, I wanted this more of a logo. And the good news is I have, if you come to uploads in the file here, you'll see all the uploads we have. You'll see everything that I've uploaded to use for assets. It can all stay on the cloud and the Canva profile. And what I do is I go find my sub2 logo that I found forever ago. So, right, so I add the sub2 logo because I really want it to stand out. And actually, now that I'm redoing this and spending some time, maybe I could have done sub2 bigger because that's a very iconic logo across the fund here, right? So you can get creative with this, but I just kind of put it next to the logo here for our sub2 Gator logo. So as you can see, right, we got sub2 Gator Orlando, which I'm not sure why that's super highlighted that way. Transparency is good. Position, let me bring it forward. Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, should be a lot brighter like this. But what we'll do is now you can see how I've got the text going. So how did I do the house? This is a very interesting way. Oh, and then the red line down here at the bottom, because it's already in here, the good news is, and I grouped it, we just copy it, come up here and paste it. Boom. And it already adds to that thumbnail. So remember, select Control C for copy, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and then select up in the area up here as you hear me clicking, and then hit Control V and paste it, Control V, paste, and it'll paste right where you want it. So now I have that, and we can use that asset moving forward on every thumbnail. But I didn't like this background, so I delete the background, and I come over here to Elements, and I typed in Homes, and this was the home that came up. So this is the home that I used as the background. As you can see, it's a beautiful, bright color, but we want to create this effect. So how do we create this effect? One, I want to copy and paste. Two, I want an original, and I want a background. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, right click, we're going to set as image background. Now, once it says the image background, we're going to come up here and edit. We're going to select the image background. We're going to edit, and then we're going to go to filters, see all. Because now I'm going to go over to the grayscale. I'm going to just put slate. All right, so now we've got that gray background, as you see here, but now how did I get the glow? So on this one, I'm going to use tools. I'm going to use a magic tool here. I'm going to do edit or background remover. Now, what's weird is that this one only removed the background, but it kept the foreground. So how did I get this to become gray? I actually went into background remover again, and it gives me now an option to remove what I don't want. So I'm going to increase the brush size, and I'm going to remove all this other stuff that I don't want, right? This is what I wanted it to remove originally, but it didn't remove it. So I have to come in here and be kind of careful as I go around the edges of the house. And as I get closer, I make the brush size smaller. And I'm going to try to get tight to the house as much as I can, get rid of all this extra stuff. Now, I don't need this to be perfect because I'm going to put a glow on it anyways, but I want the edges to be gone. So that way, when I put the glow on it, it pops out just like the original photo, the original thumbnail I created, right? So I got to get rid of all these edges here, get in as tight as you can. Now, if you really want to get super tight, you can zoom in with these tools down here, and you can kind of do that, right? You can really get clean and edit your photos if you really want to create. But for the purposes of this exercise, we won't do that. And two, we won't really need it. Now that I have that kind of trimmed out and I exit out, now I have the home with no front and background. And so now I want to go back into edit. I'm going to come over here to my shadows, and I'm going to hit glow and pick my color, which it was more of a green color. So we're going to try to stay in this green neon. And now I'm going to size, how big do I want the intensity to be, right? That's super too much. So we want to like halfway, blur amount, how much blur do we want? And then size was fine. But now we got to make this fit in the house right here in the middle. And so sometimes what I do is I bring these down a little bit, the edges, because it's going to get off screen. You'll see here in a minute what I mean. So obviously we just got to map as close as possible to the original sized home. Boom, just like that. Now you see it's not perfect. And again, like I said, this one I spent a little bit more time clearing up the edges, but now you can see how I was able to create that same effect on this one here. And it's kind of off and hidden behind. So I'm going to hit position, and you have your layers here. And so if you hit layers, I don't want that to be the top layer. I want it to be behind everything and above the gray. So once I moved everything behind the gray, you can see how it moved to the back. All right, so I'll show you again. This is where it was originally at up here. You see how it's in front of the logo? I want it kind of hidden behind the logo there. And so that is basically the masterclass on how I create thumbnails, where I get inspiration, and how simple and easy it is to use a tool like Canva to create these powerful thumbnails. And as we go, thumbnails will get adjusted and shifted over time. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, let me know. But this was the simple walkthrough class of how to use Canva to create